All right, let's dive into something that's totally changing the game in naval warfare. In this explainer, we're going to break down how the US Navy has built this incredible layered defense system. And what's really wild is that it's so effective and so cheap to use, it's designed to not just win a fight, but to literally bankrupt any enemy who even tries to pick one. Okay, so picture this. A massive, all-out attack is launched on a US carrier group. We're talking hundreds of advanced drones, dozens of those so-called carrier killer missiles, the whole shebang. A coordinated strike that cost the enemy something like $500 million, and it's all screaming right for the heart of the fleet. Now, what if I told you that the fleet could stop that entire $500 million assault for less than $5 million? Think about that. Not just win, but win at a cost ratio of 100 to 1. It sounds completely impossible, doesn't it? Well, that's the big question, right? And the answer isn't some single secret wonder weapon. No, it's about a total rethinking of what naval defense even is. It's about creating this unbreakable, multi-layered shield that uses physics, networking, and just brutal economic math to its advantage. You see, the threats themselves have totally changed. It's not just about a couple of fast missiles anymore. Now we're talking about huge swarms of smart drones or hypersonic weapons that dive down from the very edge of space. The old way of doing things, firing one super expensive interceptor at one incoming missile, that math just doesn't work anymore. Something new was needed. So let's look at the first layer of this new shield. We'll call it the outer ring. This is basically the fleet's early warning system. It's eyes and ears, designed to see and deal with threats hundreds of miles out, long before they're ever a real problem. Now, the real magic here isn't just one of these things, it's how they all talk to each other. The F-35. It's not just a fighter jet anymore, it's more like a flying quarterback, a super advanced sensor platform way out in front of everyone else. You've got these autonomous Ghost Fleet ships scouting ahead, acting as sensor posts or even decoys. And then there's the MQ-25 Stingray drone. This thing is a total game changer. By refueling fighters in the air, it basically doubles the carrier's reach, which means those priceless F-35s can focus on fighting instead of hauling fuel. And this really gets to the core of the strategy. It's not just about having more drones than the other guy. It's about building a smarter network, a combat cloud. The idea is to have every single asset, the planes, the ships, the drones, all sharing data instantly. The thinking is that one smart machine that's plugged into the network is worth 1,000 uncoordinated ones. So what happens if a few threats manage to sneak past that outer ring? Well, that's where the second layer kicks in, the mid-range defense. And you can think of this as a solid wall of hypersonic missiles protecting the fleet. So meet the SM-6. If the carrier is the heart of the fleet, this missile, this is its teeth. It's basically a hunter that operates in the stratosphere. It has this monster rocket motor that can just blast it into the upper atmosphere to take out those hypersonic glide vehicles way up high before they can even start their final attack run. But, a hunter is only as good as its eyes, and that's where the new SPY-6 radar comes in. The old system, SPY-1, it was good for its time. But SPY-6 is a whole other level. I mean, it is 30 times more sensitive. It has double the range, and here's the kicker. It can track 30 times more targets at the same time. It can manage a massive, chaotic swarm that would have just completely overwhelmed the old systems. And this is where you see the true power of that network we were talking about. Thanks to something called the Naval Integrated Fire Control Network, a destroyer doesn't even have to see the enemy with its own radar. An F-35, flying 200 miles ahead, can spot a threat, zap the targeting data back to a ship that's way over the horizon, and that ship launches the SM-6. Then the F-35 guides the missile all the way in for the kill. It's just a seamless, connected kill chain. Okay, so now we get to the last line of defense. For anything, and I mean anything that somehow manages to leak through those first two massive layers, there is the inner ring. This is a dramatic, point-blank defense grid that relies on pure kinetic energy and, believe it or not, the speed of light. So a few years back, the Navy famously scrapped its big electromagnetic railgun project. They'd spent $500 million on it, and everyone called it a failure. But here's the twist. They didn't really kill it. They just stripped it for parts. They took its magic bullet, the hypervelocity projectile, and figured out a new way to use it. And in doing so, they pulled off one of the biggest tactical pivots in modern military history. So by tweaking the HVP so it could be fired from the standard 5-inch powder guns that are already on dozens of destroyers, they unlocked this insane economic advantage. A single interceptor missile costs over $4 million. A single HVP round? About 85 grand. I mean, you can see it right there on the chart. That is a 50-to-1 cost advantage. It's just incredible. But the cost isn't even the craziest part. The real game changer is magazine depth. A destroyer usually has, 96 missile cells? Once those are empty, the ship is basically a sitting duck. But that same ship, it can carry over 600 of these HVP rounds. You've effectively turned every destroyer in the fleet into a hypersonic machine gun, one that can just keep on firing. And get this, these projectiles don't even need explosives. They're moving at over Mach 5. The sheer kinetic force, the raw energy, is like getting hit by a freight train that's been shrunk down to a tiny point of solid tungsten. You can't jam it with electronics, and there is no way you're outrunning it. And the very final piece of this inner shield is literally weaponized light. Now, there are two main flavors of this. You've got continuous wave lasers like Helios, which basically act like a giant blowtorch in the sky. They just hold a beam on a target until it melts and falls apart. And then you have pulsed energy systems. These fire a super short, incredibly powerful blast that creates a plasma explosion right on the target's skin, instantly frying all its electronics inside. And this quote from the source material just says it all perfectly. When your weapon is moving at 186,000 miles per second, how fast the enemy is going becomes completely, utterly irrelevant. You can't dodge it. You just cannot outrun the speed of light. So when you put all of these pieces together, the outer ring, the missile wall, the inner grid, you start to see what the real goal is. The ultimate weapon in this whole system isn't a missile or a laser. It's economics. It's all about winning the cost war. I mean, just look at this table. This is the new math. An enemy might spend $5 million to fire one single missile. The US can take it out with an $85,000 slug. Or if it's a drone, they can use a laser shot that costs $1. Literally a buck's worth of electricity. The enemy has a limited supply of missiles. The laser has a virtually unlimited magazine. That kind of economic imbalance is just impossible for any attacker to sustain. And that right there is the core idea. The entire system is built to put such a crushing financial burden on an adversary that launching a big attack becomes an act of economic suicide. The goal is to bankrupt them before they even get a chance to fight. So, let's wrap up with the key takeaways. First, defense isn't a single wall anymore. It's a deep, multi-layered system. Second, the way all these platforms, the jets, the ships, the drones, work together is way more important than any one piece of hardware. Third, these new kinetic and light speed weapons are completely rewriting the rules. And finally, the real objective here is to achieve victory through overwhelming economic efficiency. And that leaves us with one last pretty profound question to think about. By building a shield that is this effective and this cheap to operate, the Navy is changing the very calculus of war itself. If the price of admission to even try to attack is just too high for any country to pay, has the battle for the seas already been won?